the brand new Camellia Fair event design, and I want to say that this is our very first digital floral studio video, so I cannot thank you enough for supporting our business this year during the holidays, especially this year. So thank you. This is really a time for you guys to just sort of grab your favorite cup of tea or a glass of wine and just take a deep breath and be creative and relax. So thank you again.
Let's get started. You want to make sure you have a nice clean space to lay out your materials. This video is going to be relatively short, so you can either pause it when you need to or watch it all the way through. Let's lay out our greens first. First we have our cedar, which is going to be a little bit more floppier than the rest of them. Next we have some different types of spruce and hemlock branches. And then finally we have some white pine, which is a little bit more of like a wispy type of a pine. And of course our magnolia leaves. Next, let's lay out our pods and things. You can give the rubber band a little snip to separate the items. We have some seed pods, some wood flowers, some fresh cotton branches. Now the cotton bolls themselves, they do have a tendency to stick together, so be careful when pulling these apart. And our pampas grass. Once you have your workspace set up, we're ready to begin greening our wreath. I always like to start with the floppier greens first. That way, when we're putting in our more sturdy greens on top of it, it's going to help it from falling into itself. So let's start with our cedar. Now the goal here is to actually use the grapevine wreath itself as the mechanics to hold the greens in. Now once you're adding your cedar in piece by piece, if you sort of weave it through front and back, you'll find that it sticks fairly well. Now this is just the first thing that we're adding, so if it's a little bit loose, that's totally okay. The more that we add, the tighter that wreath is going to be. Next, let's grab our white pine. Our white pine is going to be the one that's a little bit more wispier than the other ones. And we're going to add this in the same way as we did with the cedar. So placing it underneath the grapevine, using those vines to our advantage and sort of weaving them through. And also every now and then I like to pick it up and do a shake test. So once you get some greens in there, if you pick it up every now and then and just shake it and make sure they don't fall out, that's going to ensure that it's going to stay together. If you have any white pine that is sort of yellowing at the base, just pull those guys off and pop them right in there. White pine just naturally yellows over time. Now let's grab our spruce and our hemlock. This is going to be the most sturdy of all of our greens and also the most hardy and long lasting as well. So we want these front and center. Now you notice that we're putting all of our greens in the same direction. So instead of having the stems going both ways, we want all of our stems going clockwise in this case. You can also do counterclockwise, but as long as you pick the same direction, that's going to ensure that everything's going to stay in place. And I've only done my greens on the right hand side in a crescent moon type shape, but you can absolutely go all the way around if you'd like. Now that we have all of our greens into our grapevine wreath base, let's go ahead and grab our magnolia leaves. The magnolia leaves are going to be the leaves that have that nice beautiful brown velvet underside and the dark green glossy upper side. The magnolia stems might be a little tricky at first since they're a little bit thicker than the evergreens, but they will just tuck right in there nice and tight. When you're ready, let's start adding our pampas grass, our seed pods, and our fresh cotton. And I like to cluster these elements together, but you can absolutely spread them out throughout your wreath. Now, when you're finished adding everything in, you're gonna have something that looks similar to this. So we're gonna have a nice greenery base, lots of different textural elements on top. The only final pieces we have left to do are to add our ribbon hanger and then our peppermint oil. Let's go ahead and grab our velvet fabric. So you have a piece that's about 1 yard long. And what you wanna do here is weave it through the grapevine, pull it through, and make sure that it's velvet side out. Now you can do a shoestring bow if you choose, or you can simply just tie it in a knot and use it to hang from the door. And we have one final step, our peppermint oil. Your peppermint oil is included in your kit, and you want to just put that right around the cotton and the seed pods, and that every time you walk past your wreath, you're going to get a nice whiff of that peppermint and pine. Thank you so much for putting up with our video today, and happy holidays. Enjoy your wreath.